Alright, looks like things are just about set up, so I'm going to switch over to the gaming stream layout and kind of intro what we're doing today. Alright. I think everything switched over successfully. So, as the stream title for today suggests, I wanted to jump back into the world of NES games. We've done this a couple times here on the channel, and usually I'll play through at least one NES game in its entirety on stream if I'm lucky. Up till now, we've primarily played either games that I really like or ones that are decently popular that are well known. But in order to sort of flip things around a little bit and try something different, I wanted to focus on games, at least for this stream, it's probably going to be just one. I wanted to focus on a game that's got kind of an infamous legacy. Specifically one coming from content creators who've talked about it in the past. So let me make sure everything's loaded in here and we will get started. First, let me make sure the capture's coming in. And I'm going to update the description because I keep forgetting to do that. And of course it doesn't fit, but that's okay. There's no background sound on this loading screen here for the game. But real quickly as an intro, the game I want to play through today is from the NES era, and it's called Mylon's Secret Castle. I don't know if there's ever been confirmation of how to pronounce the character's name. I always said Mylon. Some people say Milon or whatever. But this game is from '87, and it was developed and released by Hudson Soft. They're the folks that had the little cartoon bee as their mascot. Hudson created a lot of well-known properties like Adventure Island and some other ones, but they also made this. And before we get in, I start kind of showing off what this game's about. I will say that one reason why I decided to do Mylon's Secret Castle is because this game has somewhat of an infamous legacy for being really janky. And if you've been on the internet for a while and know James Rolfe, aka the Angry Video Game Nerd, many years ago, he did a video on Mylon's Secret Castle, and he absolutely tore it apart. And I do think this game is flawed, but I do like it, unironically. So the point of playing through this today is, one, to explain my history with it, and to also give people a glimpse into the game and the actual progression, since when the AVGN did his video a long time ago, he definitely highlighted a lot of the flaws with this one, but he also didn't play through it to completion. This was way before he did that in his videos, so he mostly just kind of ripped on it. And while I don't think the criticisms are unfounded, I think it is worth looking at because this game is actually fun, but you kind of need to know what you're doing. So let's go ahead and get started so we're not sitting here in dead silence. And the audio for this one is kind of soft on the readout. I'm going to put my OBS output for the game at about 70%. I'll have to rely on folks to let me know if they can hear it. This game's got decent music, but it's kind of important that you're able to hear what's going on in the game, just so it's not me talking over, again, dead silence. To sort of intro the environment and the basic setup for this game, Mylon's Secret Castle is a side-scrolling platformer action type game. You play as the main character Mylon, this little blue-haired elf dude who shoots bubbles. The lore behind this game is that the magical kingdom he lives in is populated by people who speak using music. It's information and lore you find in the little book that comes with the game. And Mylon is one of the weird people born without the ability to use magic, and I believe that's how he got the bubbles. The premise for the game is the princess, because there's always a princess in these old NES games, was kidnapped by an evil wizard, and he's holding her at the top of this castle, said secret castle. And we're dropped in with no text crawl, no lore, no nothing from the game itself, just here's a castle, there's a bunch of doors, and if you linger too long on this particular screen, either standing still or just walking around like I'm doing, the screen will go dark, and all of a sudden you'll get struck by lightning. These bolts of lightning do damage, and I can't destroy them with my weapon. It doesn't really matter if I die here, because I haven't really accomplished anything yet. My life bar on the left side, the blue pips, you lose all that, you die, there's no lives. And it immediately kicks you back to the start screen, and you have to start over. Right away, that is easily one of the most frustrating things about this game. If you die on any level, with an exception I'll get to a little bit later, it kicks you back to the start of the game, you lose everything, and you have to start over. And this game is decently hard. In addition to being kind of confusing and cryptic, it is not easy. And the fact that there's no built-in continue system or lives means you have to know what you're doing, otherwise you're going to lose your progress, waste your time, and turn the game off. Let me get out of this main section to actually explain the point. We go in the doors of the castle. Each castle takes you to a different room, right? And each room is laid out differently, different enemy sets, with kind of a mix of weird fantasy creatures and bizarre things hopping around. The scale for Mylon is a little different in here. He's a little bit larger sprite-wise. His bubbles are the same. Killing enemies gives you a chance to drop a blue heart, which will replenish your life. Again, seen on the left. The bubbles are these upward shooting projectiles you can either angle at an upward angle by default, or if you hold it down on the D-pad, you can shoot them downwards. The coverage basically is just above and below. You can't change the direction like a Mega Man weapon. It's just upwards or downwards. And as you proceed through the game, you'll get power-ups that will affect your bubbles. The umbrella gives you rapid fire for a little while. I'm not using turbo controllers or anything like that, so if I just hammer on the B button, then I'll shoot faster. Edward says, "Hey Mario, can I borrow your homeworld?" The graphics style for this one, in certain parts, definitely looks kind of reminiscent of some of the early NES games. Things like the block textures and whatnot are kind of reminiscent of Mario. This game is a radical departure from Mario, which we'll see as we proceed here. If you hold the D-pad in a direction, Mylon will pick up speed and hit a run. You don't have to input a button while you do that. You just need a running start, and he'll pick up top speed, and you'll be able to jump a little bit further. It's a little bit tough to control, but it doesn't require like holding a dash button, which is kind of nice. When you're dropped into each one of these rooms, there's basically one main objective. And the main objective is to find a way out, which is very simple. The trick is, each room has valuable things that you want to collect in order to progress through the game. This one functions kind of like an RPG system in that you collect currency, and you have to buy things to use, tools, weapons, power-ups, and fill out your inventory in order to progress. You need certain things in order to get to certain parts of the game. And the game doesn't tell you this, so the only way you'd figure it out would be to randomly find a shop and or discover random things in the environment and figure it out that way. So right away, the first flaw of Mylon Secret Castle is they don't explain anything. Most NES games back in the day didn't. They just drop you in and say, play the game and or read the manual, which may or may not offer any sort of valuable information. Using the bubbles, you can break certain blocks, and that's trial and error. And the blocks reveal power-ups that you collect and take on your way. The honeycomb increases your life max by 1 pip, which is super important. There's one in every room in the game. So by the end, you can have a pretty big life bar, which is important because the bosses will start absolutely wrecking you if you don't have a decent amount of life. Aside from that, these rooms themselves are usually 1 or 2 screens. They're not terribly large, and they usually have some sort of gimmick. The castle floors on the first level are fairly basic. But as you proceed and explore the room and try and find which blocks are destructible and whatnot, you'll find these dollar blocks. Now I have money shown in the upper left. And after you destroyed enough blocks, you'll find a key that spawns in a couple set locations in the room itself. And once I collect it, it will be blinking in the upper right, meaning I can leave the room whenever I find the exit door. And the exit door is in a set location as well, but it's not revealed, so you have to find it. So if you're playing through the game completely cold for the first time, you're not going to know where anything is, and you have to figure it out. Real quick, Edward, can you give me a sound check on the game audio? This one has kind of a low sound level, so let me know if you can't hear it. I would like the game to be audible since it has not a groundbreaking soundtrack, but it's better than me just talking in almost silence. So as you explore the rooms, trying to find... Oh, okay, thanks, Edward. I'll remember to try and keep the output about here, about 60% in OBS. Real quickly before I talk about the exit mechanics here, when I hit that platform right below me and a bee popped out, which is the Hudson logo, hitting that and collecting it successfully gives you a shield. This shield will protect you from about 3 hits of damage before it goes away, which is really important when you're going up against bosses because they do a lot of damage and there's no real hit stun. You can get dropped to 0 health almost instantly in this game. But if your health meter on the left is completely full and you have the shield and it starts to deteriorate, which it'll contract and get smaller. That's how you know it's running out. If you collect blue hearts while your life is full and you have the shield, it'll replenish and it'll heal the shield and boost it back up. So if you're really good and avoid taking damage, you can keep this barrier on for the entire game. I've never done it because I suck at this game, but it does help for some of the later bosses and environments that do a lot of damage. So I'm not done exploring this area, but to demonstrate the exit mechanics, when you have the key and you find the door, which you just have to shoot the right spot, because again, it's cryptic, that causes the door to appear, and then you just walk into it, and it'll take you out of the level. And you can either go to another one, return, or move on. So because they don't really tell you where anything is, a lot of it, like I said, is trial and error. And a lot of times, if you're just playing this game for the first time, you will find yourself running around, shooting at literally every block in the room, trying to find destructible things for money, and or secret areas, shops, and whatnot. And the first one in the game, which again, they don't tell you, you have to kind of figure it out on your own. If you shoot the blocks out next to this weird discolored block, which I guess is your first hint, and you just walk up against it for a few seconds, it'll move. Once it moves, shoot the empty section and a door appears. This is the first quote-unquote shop in the game. You have this guy who kind of looks like a robe-wearing Ron Jeremy with a wizard stick. He will offer you hints for free. Bump head to find box. Pretty straightforward hint. Makes perfect sense to me. Secret entrance in the front wall. Also, pretty straightforward. About as helpful as a Castlevania 2 NPC. Sometimes there'll be life refills in here you can throw a couple dollars at. It's not really worth it because you need as much cash as you can get. But the little dots up there next to the Ron Jeremy character are the crystals that you need to collect from each of the bosses in different floors of the castle. And as you collect them, it'll fill in up there, and that's what drives your weapon power-ups, your bubbles. But we have 16 in cash, which I think is the maximum amount you can find in that first room. And if we buy the shoes, it says, jump higher where springs are set. So what does that mean? throughout the game, and this will become more important for a while, you'll see these things that look like little boxes or like a bench, sideways bench in profile. Once you have the shoes, jumping on these allows you to boost. It gives you a super jump. Greater height, and some areas you're going to need that in order to get at certain power-ups or things of interest. This is your first gameplay changing power-up. And again, the game doesn't tell you to do this, which is the biggest flaw in my opinion. The fact that it just doesn't really guide the player on what they're supposed to do. You have to figure it out. But that's the basic loop for each room. And each room has its own gimmick, which we'll see as we move on. But there's one other thing of note in each room, and that's a special power-up block you have to find using the hint the guy mentioned in the room where he said bump head to find block, which means absolutely nothing normally. In certain spots throughout each of the levels, there's a set secret power-up that you can only trigger by hitting it from underneath, Mario style. And the first one, I think I know where every single one in the game is, haven't played this enough. First one is right here, first block. Or, this one, first block. It's music box. And this music box leads to a bonus game. And in the bonus game, I gotta try and focus and see what I'm doing here. You have the different citizens of this magical kingdom that communicate using music, but all their instruments have been stolen. I think it's a plot point. The only person that has one is the drummer, who's got the percussion line going, which I guess is fitting for me. And as you play through the bonus level, different notes will fly up. The regular music notes will give you 1 point, the sharps give you 2, the flats, or the Bs, will take 1 off, will reduce it. And the goal is to get as many notes as possible before the time runs out. Like so, I think it's something like 30 seconds. And you get a cash bonus based on how well you do. And that becomes really important as you proceed because you need, again, as much cash as you can get to buy important power-ups. So in addition to navigating the room, getting all the valuable items, shops, whatnot, finding the exit, you also want to find the music box in each level because it gives you extra cash. It makes your life easier later. But aside from that, once you have all the items of interest, and there's a B in each level too. I don't think I have all those memorized. But once you've done all that and collected everything you need, you can leave. And you can come back to the room at any time, and you'll be able to come and go freely. Like if you need to go replenish your life, which I know I'll need to do at some point. There's that. The second room that I haven't gone in is another shop. I didn't go in here because I wouldn't have been able to buy anything at the start. First hint says crystal has mysterious power. That's a real cryptic way of saying the boss crystals that you collect, again, those 7 dots up next to Ron Jeremy, will upgrade your weapon. They should have just said, you will get stronger each time you kill a boss, but no, it's an NES game. Second hit, find a saw. Not helpful. I'll find a saw at some point, but doesn't tell me how. The next power-up I can get in my inventory, and you can see the boxes in the upper left, those items, that's my inventory of tools and special things that I'll fill out as I go here. So this is the medicine. It says, shrink when you touch the glove. Doesn't mean anything, but it will in a sec when I move on. If we continue to move on, we have the first window. The windows can be entered just like all of the other areas, and you can actually leave them, which I forgot. That's the first boss. It's a Kangaroo Dragon of sorts. We're not gonna go for the boss quite yet. There's still one more room on this floor to check out. Popping in here, we get a new tile set, different layout and everything. And you can see that because I took a hit from the lightning bolts, it took my shield down a notch. But one blue heart popped it back up to, I think that's full. I think you only need 1 to max it out. But this tile set's different. We got this sort of weird golden brick looking area. And And just like before, the point is to navigate through the entire section, find the cache. The noise you hear, hopefully picked up in the audio, in the background is what it sounds like when the key appears. You get a chime. And then that means the key's appeared somewhere in the level. You just have to find it, and then you can leave. And what I'm trying to do here is get a heart and max my shield out before I move on. Okay. Alright. Like I mentioned, there's no hit stun in this, even when you've got a shield on. So if you get sandwiched between an enemy or an enemy sort of paths onto you, it can drop your shield instantly in a few hits. You have to be pretty careful when you're proceeding through different areas here. Here's the honeycomb. Life max up. Here's the glove. So by getting the medicine, every time you see a green glove, again, this is inexplicable video game mechanics, not lore-based, I don't think. Hitting it causes Mylon to shrink, basically halves his height, which allows you to squeeze into certain areas that you wouldn't normally be able to get at. And that's going to be important because there's certain things you can only access by shrinking. Before I go through here, there's a shop. Before I do that, I want to collect the key because it'll despawn if I go into another section of the room. Should be down here, yeah. In the lower corner. I think this is a set spawn. There's some additional cash you can only get here by shrinking. Nothing over there. Those little gremlin-looking monsters have what looks like a wrench projectile that they shoot at you. And because this game is kind of cheap, their projectiles can pass through solid walls, even though certain other ones can't, like so, and they can pot shot you. Mine do the same thing, but you have to be careful. Alright. Another shop. This one is selling a lantern for $50, which we don't even have close to that right now. This one's a bit of a beginner's trap, if I remember. It's very difficult, or almost impossible, to have this much money at this point in the game. You could do the bonus and then go to the next floor and come back, but I'm pretty sure you get a lantern for cheaper later. So this is kind of a trap to make you waste your money, which sucks. Ooh, oh boy. I'm stuck there. I think I have one hit left before I lose my shield. Where's that guy spawned in? Oh, it's up there. Let's see if we can get another heart. I'm gonna want a full shield before I go fight the Kangaroo Dragon boss. And there it goes. Great. I think there's a bee in here. There it is. It doesn't start maxed out when you get it, though, which I'm realizing. I think it's only one hit worth of damage. What I really need is to get another heart, max it out, and then try and get out of this stage before I lose it. And these little flying enemies are the safest target. Avoid getting shot by the gremlins. There's the music box. Oh, I had one unit of life down, so now I gotta get another heart in order to max out. Not the most ideal situation, because these guys are just gonna try and shoot me. There we go. Alright, now we're good. Alright, bonus stage again. Same premise, but each time you do these bonus stages, you can only do them once in each level. Each time you do, the citizens of the magical kingdom get another instrument. And a kind of neat thing that happens as you do these and proceed through the game, the instrumental track will start to change. It's the same song, but we're only hearing certain parts because everyone's missing their instruments. So we'll start to get melodies and other parts of the song that fill out as you complete the bonus and find the different things. And by the end of the game, you get the whole song, which is kind of a neat little touch. But considering they don't even tell you that this is in the game, aside from that vague hint about hitting a block with your head, you wouldn't necessarily know. And it was symbols for that one, so that doesn't really change the track noticeably. Nope. Alright. Oh, come on. I need to get it. I need to max my shield out again. Oh, that would have done it. That would have counted as a heart because my health is full, I think. There we go. Alright, let's get out of here before something else shoots me. Oh, and it's still storming. Alright. Alright, first boss, the Kangaroo Dragon. Each fireball's 2 regular hits of damage, I think. All the bosses in this game function the same way. They follow a kind of hopping pattern, but the way they shoot projectiles and their overall health pools are different as you go. The general strategy here is to kind of hang back to give yourself room to dodge, and just shoot the boss in the face with bubbles. And it might be a little bit difficult to hear on the audio, but the boss will grunt every time you shoot it, which means you're doing damage. If I can get through this encounter without losing my shield, that would be ideal. Alright. I think I'm 1 hit off, though. Alright, these are the crystal things that we've been talking about. It's a little tough to see for the first one, but the power-ups to your bubbles will be twofold. They'll either be a range upgrade, so they go farther, or a size upgrade. And that first one's range. My bubbles go about, looks like, maybe twice as far, a third as far. Edward says, is that the descending sound effect? Are you talking about, which sound effect are you talking about? The one that played when I opened up the door? There's no music here. Once you kill the boss, it's just dead silence again. Oh, the groan? Descending sound effect from what specifically? Because the noise that the boss was making, it sounded kind of like a whir noise. It's kind of hard to hear because it's not super loud. Alright, we'll go ahead and move on. Oh man, I really need to get rid of the storm. That's a huge liability. Because they can hit me as I'm going into the rooms, which kind of blows. Edward says, yeah, okay, you could hear it. Yeah, it's kind of a weird, barely audible noise. But I don't know if it's taken from anything else. It's possible, given how frequently games would recycle sound effects from their own or other properties. In fact, I think the boss grunt is just a pitched down version of the noise it makes when I kill an enemy. Alright, I need to be a little bit careful as I'm inching along here until I can get another heart and max my shield. These flying fish enemies can pass through blocks and they just zip along through the level, which is a bit dangerous because they will do damage. Okay, I guess it doesn't count as life. So this tile set, we have this green brick-looking layout. Pretty similar, but now it's a bit more like a maze, and there's more of a vertical traversal. Exit door's up here in the upper left. I don't have a key, so I can't leave if I wanted to. The key spawns somewhere in the middle, but I'm gonna have to re-trigger it because the music box is there. Might be a little bit difficult to hear because, again, this game's volume is kind of low. But in the music track, now we've got a tuba bass line. Homeboy in the upper right got himself a tuba, or maybe it's baritone? I think it's a tuba. Man, I'm not doing great here. It'd be good to hit around 50, you get a good bonus. It's better than nothing. Alright. Every time you do the music challenge thing, it kicks you back to the start, which I guess isn't bad because I still need to trigger the key. But now I gotta go all the way around the perimeter in order to get back to where I was. Okay, there's the key. I may have to do more than one circuit, because I think I'm going to have to drop down. Me heart. There we go. Oh, cash money. Cash money's good. Alright, one of the gimmicks of this particular level, or room, is these melting blocks that disappear when you land on them. There's also pitfalls, which is why I'm trying to avoid landing on the lower of those two. It'll drop me through all the way to the bottom floor, which will just waste my time. You can find hidden shop here. And here's what I was talking about earlier. Let's look at the hints. The well is climbable. Okay, that means nothing to us right now. Balloon makes the bubble bigger. That makes even less sense to us at this point in the game. But this is what I was talking about when it comes to the beginner's trap. This is the lantern, which we need in order to successfully navigate the next area without it being annoying. But it's 15. I'm up to 70 in cash money. I could have gone back to that one shop in the second level and burned 50, and it would have been a huge ripoff. This run, Jeremy sells it for much cheaper. We're going to grab it, and we still have a decent amount of cash left. As far as I can remember, that's the only item in the game that's set up to kind of trap you. I think everything else... Whoops. Everything else is only showing up in one shop as you proceed. We'll find out if I'm misremembering. But I do think it's kind of interesting that they did that. By interesting, I mean kind of cheap. Honeycomb is here. Okay, that was the key. Which should be... Okay, there it is. That's convenient. Alright. That, we've got all of the points of interest. Basically, in addition to picking up cash and finding shops, like I mentioned earlier, the two main things to do in each level: find a honeycomb, find the music box. If you can do all that, and then collect as much cash as you can find just by destroying random blocks, then that's it. Get the key, figure out where the door is, and then that's it. Alright, let me see if I can hang out on the screen long enough for the storm to go away. Otherwise, it's going to keep doing this every time I leave. There we go. All right. Okay, we've got a room here that doesn't give us anything right now. This next one, another room on this castle floor. We have a different enemy that sort of just paths back and forth on the platform. We'll see them in several different levels. This shifting space is a pitfall that just kind of moves around, allow you to drop down to the lower levels. Because Hudson are very cheeky, they've spelled out their own name using the platform blocks here. The tile set's more like a wooden tree tile set here. Oh, we've got flying tumbleweeds that shoot projectiles. These blue elephant things replace the flying fish, but they function the same way and they'll fly aimlessly around trying to run into you. Oh boy. I'm gonna lose my shield. Yep. There is another one here, but it's a little bit tougher to get. There's the exit door. There's a lot more projectiles shooting enemies here, which makes it more difficult. Like so. That's what I was talking about, the hit stun. It's very easy to get chained to death. Usually it happens by falling on an enemy, but it can happen with projectiles too, where they just mob you with a whole bunch of hits at once and then you lose all your life. Oh boy, let's get low. More cash money in here. Here's the exit door. No, is there more than one exit door? Oh. I guess there is. That's interesting. I always thought there was one per level, maybe not. Alright, point of interest. Honeycombs here. It'll always top your life up to full when you get it, and give you one more pip. There's the key. There's a shop in here. Hint. Vest isn't 100% against heat. That will have meaning in a second in the next level. Power, which is $5, is a life refill. I don't think it's full. I think it gives you several units of health. But this is the vest. Helps you in the fire room, but not 100% according to the hint. Alright. We need to find the music box. And ideally get a B for the shield. I think that B is here. Yep. And it is very easy to miss that because it's so fast and leaves the screen quickly. Just need a heart. I need 2 hearts. One to fill my life, one to fill my shield. I need to do it without getting hit by an enemy or a projectile. No problem. Okay. One. Just need one more heart and then we're good. Doing this isn't the most necessary, but the game is considerably less difficult if you have a shield, just as boss BS insurance. Alright. Uh-oh. Alright, let's try and get out of here as quick as possible. Music box is over here. Now we've got what looks like an ocarina. The character to the right of the middle drummer dude. And the first part of the actual melody. The last instrument was the bass line. Oh, I'm gonna get a bad score this time. I might be 40-something. That could be worse. Almost 50. Oh! Got it right at the end. Alright, now we're up to $80 in cash money. Good. Less good. Alright. Let's go in that middle door. I think there's just 2 exits in this particular floor, which is weird. Normally it's just the one. Yeah, okay. So if we go back into this door, again, it's nothing. We can't go in these graded ones yet. We actually need the saw that they mentioned earlier in order to do that. There's no other points of interest on this floor. So it could be very easy to get lost. And before it switches, I'm just going to jump in the well on the far right. I would have taken a little bit longer to sort of point out that it's there, but I had a second or two before the screen switched back to the storm. Alright. So by jumping down the well, and you can come here before this point in the game, once you're on the second floor. If you don't get the lantern, this whole area is pitch black. You can make out kind of the shadow of the platforms, and if you kind of fiddle around, you can jump where you need to. But for completion's sake and to make my life easier, that's why I went and shelled out for the lantern. It's also not that expensive if you pay $15 for it. So the critical path forward in the well is, again, if you know where it is, you don't really need the lantern. But if you don't know where it is, then it'd be just fumbling around in the darkness and wasting your time. Hey, what's up, Penguin Party? Welcome to the gaming stream. I'm playing a well-known, infamous, quote-unquote bad game to try and potentially redeem it as far as the NES library goes. So these destructible blocks here, this is the path forward. And there's no way you would know that unless you happen to reveal the path and then walk through in the next section. In this area of the well, it's kind of dangerous. I'm trying to keep moving while I'm explaining what's going on. These octopus things phase in and out, and they shoot you. And it's fairly dangerous because those projectiles do decent damage. But there's the honeycomb. I'll demonstrate the significance behind those enemies later. I could do it now, but it'll just kind of waste time. They're essentially your ticket out of this whole zone. So we'll keep moving. Try and get some cash. Alright. Okay, I'm gonna pause to read chat now that I can do that. Penguin Party says, I've seen the AVG review about this, and I'm very knowledgeable about old school games. Some of the lesser known ones like Vice Project Doom. Vice Project Doom is cool. That game's got a rad soundtrack. I should play through that on stream sometime. I've never beaten it, but I have played it. That's a good one. I'm gonna attempt to beat this one in today's stream. We'll see. We're making pretty good progress. If this ends up running long, I can always just save my progress here and come back on the next stream. We'll see. I have beaten Mylon's Secret Castle, but I can't remember how long it took me. But we'll go ahead and try and proceed forward here. The well, for an inexplicable reason, is on fire. This is where we needed the vest. Oh, and I need to be really careful about boxing myself in and losing my shield like so. In fact, it's going to be worthwhile to farm hearts and keep my shield topped out just because this particular boss is dangerous. Penguin says, love Vice Project Doom. It's one of my favorite all-time NES games. Yeah, man, I never played it back in the day, but I did get a chance to check it out more recently when it was released on Virtual Console. It's definitely one you don't hear people talk about. Alright. I'm gonna try and path around the flying octopus monster. Oh, of course you're gonna teleport in right on me. So like the hint was saying, the vest protects against fire, but there are certain sections which will technically do damage if you touch them. Oh, heart? Heart? No heart. And if I didn't have the vest, I'd be taking constant damage every time I touch the flames here. So it's not 100% necessary if you want to just kind of speed run through as fast as possible, but it makes it easier. Alright. I don't think there's a music box in here. There's another honeycomb though. And that thing, I didn't linger there because it's dangerous. The flame creature there will spam you at shots and it'll do a ton of damage. So I didn't want to stick right around under it, otherwise I lose my shield. So the next boss is a giant bear, I think it's supposed to be, but it ends up looking like a giant smashed piece of poo. Let's not mince words here. AVGN said the same thing in his review. And it follows the similar pattern from the Kangaroo Dragon. I'm gonna lose my shield. But it moves a bit quicker, and it shoots a little bit faster. And as we proceed, in addition to speed and projectiles, the projectiles themselves will do more damage as the bosses get stronger. So you can use the same strategy, but you have to be more careful as you go. You start doing like 3 things of damage at once. But strategy's the same. Shoot the boss right in its face. Hit enough times and we get our second crystal. Leaving the boss room takes us to another shop. We could see up there next to Wizard Ron Jeremy. Second crystal's filled in, little bubble. I need to test out the difference in my shot. But the free item we get here for no cost is the hammer. Enter through the front wall is the hint. Doesn't really mean much, but we'll be able to test it once we get out of here. For taking out the big poo monster, my bubbles are now bigger. They have a bigger hit radius, which means it'll be easier to shoot things, which is good. But I need to get out. And there's only one way out of the well, from what I remember. I think you can climb out technically, but it's a lot more annoying. Penguin Party says you're very knowledgeable about this game. The reason why I picked Mylon's Secret Castle for the playthrough here, one, again, this game is constantly trashed on, and I honestly don't think it's a horrible game. But two, I have played through it before, so I can actually explain things about it. I've beaten it before. It's not an easy game to beat, by any means. But the real fun to it is knowing what you're doing and then playing through the different sections instead of having to try and figure it out. So this particular stream session is meant to sort of correct the bad PR around this game. It's still super jank and cryptic. That is definitely not going to change. But considering the AVGN only sort of touched on the surface of this one, what I plan on doing is playing through the whole thing, either on this stream or between streams. So if you guys tune in, you'll be able to see what's actually in Mylon's Secret Castle instead of just the first few areas. Alright, there's another bee. Is it in here? There it is. Oh, I hit my head on the ceiling. Alright, that would have been nice to have, but oh well. Alright. So the main way to get out of the well, and it was the hint that Wizard Ron Jeremy told us earlier. He said, balloon makes the bubble bigger, which means squat when you think about the context of the game. If I can manage to shoot one of these shuriken-throwing octopi, I get a balloon power-up, and collecting that does make the bubble bigger, per what he said, and it immediately ports you out of the well, which is the main reason why you'd want to do that. Again, I think you can climb out, but it's annoying, and you can just shoot the enemies, which I think they're easier to kill after you get the power up from the second boss anyway. But now we're out, and I just wanted to pop in here into room 1 just to get some hearts, top out, because I think we're going into another boss fight straight away. Be nice if we can get 2 more. Yeah, there we go. Alright. Full health. This big room up here, which they tease you right at the very start of the game, there is a way to get there, but it won't be for a while, so you just get to look at it every time you come here. Alright, so the hammer. It said enter through the front wall. There are specific points in the game where you can hit up like you're going in a door, and the hammer will bust through it, and there's stuff to get in certain hidden areas here. And the first one's right here. In this particular shop, Wizard Ron Jeremy offers us power, which again is health, which I don't need, or a saw for free. Can enter through windows. Not very specific, but we can discern what that means on the second floor. If we go ahead and go through the shutter window, which was the first boss, and we pop up to level 2, we've cleared all of the floors that are accessible. But if we hit up on these grates, because we have the saw, now we can bust through them. This one is nowhere. It just takes you in and out of the same spot. But now there's points of interest in the different grated windows. Nothing there. Some of these will lead to and from upper levels of the castle. That's going to be their main function later. But as you get these different tools, it becomes the exercise of, okay, where can I use the hammer? Is there a secret zone behind this platform? And I can't remember if there's one here. So I just wanted to check if I can jump. No. I think I can jump up there, but it's a little bit finicky. I know the critical path. But when you're trying to figure out how to do everything, basically it's just an exercise of trial and error. Alright, that's the next boss. We have a pterodactyl. Functions like the other boss, but this one shoots relatively fast. And now the fireballs are doing 2 pips of damage. More dangerous, but not necessarily a big problem because I have extended range and an extended hit radius on the bubbles themselves. It's just hopping the projectiles and trying not to take too many unnecessary hits. Oh boy, that's definitely a lot of hits. is worth noting that if it got really dicey, I could just leave through that door. Let's do a quick save. Let's see if I can do that here on my software. Let me go up here and do that. There we go. There is something that I'll have to show off eventually when I die. In fact, I think I showed it off at the beginning when I just let the lightning kill me. I mentioned there's no life or continue system in this game, which is true. You lose all your life, you die, and go back to the beginning and start over. There is a continue system built in that the game doesn't tell you about that's unlocked after you kill the first boss. Basically, the way it works is, if you get a game over and you've killed the first boss, you have to hold left on the D-pad and then hit start, and then you'll continue at the beginning of the game, but you'll have all your stuff. You have your life power-ups, all your tools, all your money, everything else, and you can just pick up and go. You just have to physically walk back to wherever you died. Kind of Dark Souls-y in that regard. But the game doesn't tell you at any point, even through the hint rooms with Wizard Ron Jeremy, that there's a continue system. So I'm going to assume 90% of the people who played this game, unless it says it in the manual, which I'm pretty sure it doesn't, thought this is just you get a one-shot game, and if you die, you gotta start over. When in reality, there's a continue system. Why they didn't just make it a simple, either lives-based or continue system that you can just press start to continue, I don't know. But that's unusually and unfairly harsh to have your continue system locked behind a cheat code, essentially. And I think AVGN mentioned that too in his review. Just doing that would have made this game way less frustrating back in the day, because then you just continue. Sure, you might start at the bottom and have to go and fill your life up like I'm doing here, but having it locked behind a special input code is dumb, and I definitely don't defend that decision. Unfortunately, the honeycombs don't respawn. They're one and done. So if I want to refill my life, I've got to sit here and farm minions. Fortunately, it doesn't take too long. There's a fast enough spawn rate, and they're kind of all over the place. It just comes down to RNG as far as whether or not I'm going to get the heart drops. And I think it's pretty doable to beat the game without the shield. It just makes it easier. So when we proceed on, I'll try and get another one. The levels themselves are going to become more difficult, so holding on to the shield is also going to become more of a chore. Alright, that's close enough. Doesn't need to be 100% full. We don't get a Zelda-style powered-up shot for full life. That'd be nice. Alright, level 2. Boss room will take us up to level 3, which is the second to last floor of the castle. This game isn't terribly long, that's why I wanted to play through it on stream. I think it's definitely doable to beat. Now we've got a whole bunch of rooms. And here's another shop. This one is Invisibility Inc. This one's not super critical to get now. I might come back and get this one. I'll just take it now, it's fine. Makes invisible things visible. That's gonna come in handy later. Come on. Come on. Alright, fine. And it's Stormy again. I know I can jump over there, I'm just mistiming my jump. The max jump height. Oh. I can now destroy the lightning bolts with my bubble. It's the result of the level 2 or 3. I think for defeating the pterodactyl chicken boss, I got range. So So now my bubbles go even further. Whatever. We'll come back there. Okay, next room. This room's got more of a brick tile set. Looks kind of like a tower, almost. The plank backdrop. Aside from the well theme, which we'll hear in a couple other levels, your background tracks in Mylon Secret Castle are this song, the boss song, the bonus song, and the well theme. Not a super diverse soundtrack, but it's passable. I don't dislike it, but there's really not a whole lot of variety. There's the key. There's the door. This level is one of the first that has regenerating money, which I don't think I'm gonna need to farm. We'll see, depending on how my forward progress is and how I do with the bonuses. But this is the first stage you run into where you can enter and exit, and then certain money blocks will respawn and you can farm them infinitely, which is handy if you're trying to buy something that you need and you aren't necessarily at... What are you doing up there? You're not supposed to be up there. You're not at the right amount because, you know, let's say your bonus score wasn't as good as it could have been. Alright. The fireplace down there is where this enemy's hanging out, and it'll sort of path around too. You need to be careful. It'll shoot you mercilessly with fireballs. And I believe there's a honeycomb here. There might not be. Let's see. I have a pretty good memory of, I'd say 80%, 90% of the stuff in this game, but I don't know if there's a honeycomb here. Oh, yeah, that's trouble. Oh, there's the bee, and there it goes. The bees are one and done too. You only get one shot to get them. If you miss them, they're done. Would be handy, but not 100% necessary. I do need to be careful. If I get ended here and have to continue, it wouldn't be the end of the world, but it would be annoying. And I don't think I can damage the fire enemy, fire elemental, I guess. I need a specific item to do that. Penguin says, one question, what's your favorite NES game? Mine is the original Mario. Also really like Punch-Out, Kid Icarus, Kirby, Excitebike, and Vice Project Doom. Yeah, I think it was the Slither.io stream might have been the first one that you joined way back, Penguin. We were talking about old school games and favorite ones, and I know you mentioned Excitebike. And I know you talked about F-Zero, I think, as well. But for NES era, we talked about it a little before. My favorite NES game is Blaster Master. I think we were talking about the remakes and potentially playing them on stream. It'll be difficult for me to try and put together a top 10 on the fly while I'm doing this. Real quick, the new instrument here is the harp on the left. I've got an additional part of the melody. But for my top NES games, yeah, it'd be Blaster Master at number 1. It'd probably be Mega Man 2 at number 2. As it goes from there, I'd have to actually go look at a list. The Guardian Legend would probably be number 3 or 4. I really like that game, and I developed an appreciation for that game, I'd say in the last 5 years. It wasn't back in the day, because I never owned it, back when I was a larva on Homeworld. But the Guardian Legend is rad. It'd be... I could play through that on stream, but it's a long game. And it's not necessarily the most mind-blowing gameplay-wise. it's fun. I don't know if it's necessarily fun to watch is the thing. But that's one that I think is pretty underrated, especially for the time. Penguin says, Blaster Master is awesome, still need to play the Zero series. Yeah, Blaster Master Zero is really good. They're fun games. The art and character design is really cool. The music is very, very neat. I think they're making a third one. It's not been announced, but I'm pretty sure they're making a third game in that series. Alright. The points of interest here are just about done now that we've got the music box. There is a shop here. Alright, Wizard Run Jeremy for hints. A crown and a cane is needed. Should be a crown and a cane are needed at the 4th floor level. This will come into play in a little bit. There are additional items we need to beat the game that aren't on the little box inventory list in the upper left. There's only one Maharito. That is the antagonist of the game, the evil wizard dude who kidnapped the princess, as they do. Okay. For the item here, we have the blimp. And the blimp is very useful. We have 82. We have a decent amount of cash, so I guess I can snag it now. Glide down slowly. Alright. Let me get out of this level. We're going to come back here. There is something of interest here, but the flame elemental thing is guarding it, so we can't do much now. In fact, I think I'm going to need to get down to the bottom floor and refill my health. We'll grab some cash here. Going in a shop and coming out, I believe that also respawns everything. I can test that, in fact. It spawns you right in a spot where you always take damage, which is super annoying. Yeah. If I wanted to farm here, I could. I don't think it'll be necessary yet. But if I wanted to just go in and out of the shop and do a circuit around and collect all of the money, I could. I could essentially get max cash here if I really wanted, but it's not super necessary to do that. But the blimp, if I hold down jump in the air, it is slow fall. It causes me to descend slower, which means I can control my direction a little bit easier, which is kind of handy, especially when you get to some of the trickier jumps later in the game. It's not necessary to beat the game by any means, but it's pretty handy to have, and we're going to try and go completionist here, assuming I don't miss a honeycomb. And I don't think there's one here. We're going to come back to that level so I can continue to look around. Even on the main screen here, I can use the blimp to slow fall, and it makes getting at things like that tricky jump a lot easier. And now we're on this purple tile set with a whole bunch of things kind of flying and zooming around at top speed. This area is kind of dangerous. But I can control my trajectory with the slow fall, which is nice. There's a bee. There's a bee in here somewhere. Where is it? Oh, there's the music box. That's right. Alright, now in the bonus stage, we've got Trumpet Dude directly to the left of the drummer in the middle. It's kind of hard to hear, but there is a horn bit that's added to the melody. And we're only one bonus away from having all the instruments, too. Oh, I think that little bit there that was added, that's the horn part. Okay. 45. Okay, that's point of interest number 1. There is a honeycomb here. Where is that one? This particular section is not very big, this level, but it does have a bunch of pitfalls that you have to be careful of, else they'll drop you down through the different parts of the level, and it'll be kind of annoying to get back. Oh, there's the beat. Alright. There's a honeycomb. If I can get up there before I take an unnecessary hit, then I should be able to top up. Oh, or I can take an unnecessary hit and just lose my freaking shield before I even get a chance. Ah, like so. And that's the hazards of the pitfalls. That's what makes this particular room annoying. Alright. These weird Mind Flayer, Marge Simpson looking enemies. Cost me a shield. Suckers. Alright, is there anything down here on the bottom I need? Money. There's a shop. I've got to get all the way back up to the top. There's the key. There's the door. And I didn't want to leave, but that's where it is. Oh, now that's in a really annoying spot. We have the same breakaway melting blocks that we've seen in a couple other rooms. Alright. Shop here, which you would not have known about unless you found it by accident or read it on a guide. Alright, Wizard Ron Jeremy hints. A room below the fireplace. That's actually a pretty specific hint. Problem is we've seen more than one fireplace. A trap in left tower. That is also not very specific. But that's okay. The item of note here is the feather for 35. Loose, wait, and ride the elevators. As a personal note, it's not really respective to the playthrough here. This particular typo drives me absolutely nuts whenever I see it in writing, be it in a game. This is an old game, so the translation's probably not great. But when people mean to type lose, like L-O-S-E, like I lost, or I'm losing a game, instead they type loose, like the opposite of tight. Yeah, that drives me nuts. So don't do that, please. Alright, oh boy, it drops me right there. Okay. Alright. I think that's all the points of interest here. There might be some blocks of money, but for overall items, we can go ahead and bounce. Penguin says, look at Punch-Out. That one has horrible translation. Yeah, the NES library in general was rife with badly translated games back in the day. Castlevania 2, a very dialogue-heavy game with all the NPCs, that one's also pretty poorly translated. And that one, it matters because the NPCs are supposed to give you hints on what to do. And because the translation is so bad, it actually makes it counterproductive. Edward says, you gotta loosen up, Raku. Yeah, thanks, man. Now that I said that, you guys are gonna bombard me in chat with misspellings just to hurt me. Okay, that upper graded area takes us to that money room that we saw at the beginning of the game. And unfortunately, I don't have enough money because this is one of the most important tools you get. These are spring shoes, which just give you a high jump. Unlike the regular boots, which only give you the springs on spring platforms. we'll come back here. I could probably farm the farmable room real quick and do that, which maybe I'll do since that's going to make the next couple levels easier. Penguin Party says misspelling. Yeah, one of my personal pet peeves is spelling errors, but I try not to be like a grammar Nazi and correct people online. Also worth noting that I think it's once or twice this room respawns and then it's done. Which is good, because I don't have to farm that one spot. The spring shoes don't do anything on the main castle screen, weirdly enough. But in any other area where I'm walking around shooting stuff, now I have a super high jump and a super slow fall, which actually makes fighting bosses a lot easier, because I can jump up over their projectiles and then spam them in the face with bubbles. Very handy. Yeah. Even though I can use my slow fall on the castle screen, the super jump doesn't work for some reason. Alright, I think we're just about done with the rooms that we can see for now. The towers on either side are additional levels. We need the hammer in order to break through them. And here's the first tower. It is a first section's vertical like this, and these are all breakaway or melting ice blocks. And I might need to do this more than once because there's a honeycomb in here somewhere. Oof. Oh boy, and we got bats. There it is. This is another reason why I wanted the super jump, so I could basically jump up and figure out where I need to go without having to restart the level. And respawn all of the melting bricks. Ooh. Oh boy. Alright. Now the game's officially not screwing around. We've got electric hazards, lightning bolts, whatever that is, gremlins. I think there's a bee in here somewhere. I don't know where it is. We won't waste time looking for it. And real quickly, we're launched into another battle with the next boss. Here's where we start seeing subspecies. These are purple variants of the characters we've seen so far. They're faster and stronger, and they shoot more projectiles and they do more damage. This one might be doing three life bars. The super jump and slow fall are very handy here. As long as I don't mistime it and land on a projectile, I can essentially put myself in range and just pelt the boss in the face. Do it from the ground too, but it's a little more risky. Oh boy. I need to back off and be careful. I don't want to die here. Ah, I might die here. Ah! Alright, hold left. Hit start. There we go. It drops us all the way back at the bottom with base 4 life, so now you guys get to watch me farm health for about a minute or two. Everything else we've got's intact though. All of our power-ups, the bosses we've killed, no progress lost other than just time. In the meantime, while I'm doing this, since this is pretty mindless, just me running around shooting enemies, I guess I can do sort of a news and catch up for stuff on the channel, since I tend to do that whenever there's a lull or a slow point in the stream. I will say that I'm pretty happy with how the Beatbox media share went last week. For the folks that tuned in or are watching the archives of what we talked about on said stream, it was kind of neat to go through a bunch of content created from the beatbox scene and sort of talk about it. I will apologize for things getting kind of serious for a bit at the end when we talked about drama in the beatbox scene. I will make it a point to not do that in the future. I'm not a drama channel, and I really don't think it's super productive to go into drama stuff because it tends to not be fun. And it's also confusing for folks that aren't in the scene anyway, so if that comes up again, then I'll probably make a note of it and move on and not sidebar the entire stream just for that. And I may make a note in my stream descriptions as just a friendly reminder not to bring up drama of any form. Not just the beatbox scene stuff, but like let's say there's a VTuber drama thing going on out there. I really don't want people bringing that into these streams since we're supposed to be just hanging out and playing games and whatnot. So I may need to put that into the descriptions just so people know. I don't want to police what people talk about, but at the same time I don't want it to be kind of a downer type feel situation. Penguin says, please don't become a drama channel. We don't need another Killer Keemstar. Oh, that you don't have to worry about that. I got opinions on that guy, and I'm not going to really share here because it's not much different from what everyone else has already said. But the point of these streams is to have fun, and usually it's me suffering for your entertainment. If it's super relevant or it's something that I'm really passionate about, maybe I'll address it in a video, like a YouTube video that I upload, but I don't want to devote stream time when I'm hanging out with you guys to talk about something that's not fun. I think a lot of VTubers have a similar philosophy when it comes to stuff like that, so that'll be how we deal with all that stuff. So yeah, you don't have to worry, Penguin. I personally don't like talking about drama. And it's not like my opinion really matters. I'm not a big person in the VTuber community or any community really. I wonder if I get a third respawn there. Yep. Oh, that's good to know. Okay, we have another room. We cleared a tower, there's another tower, and there's another room that I haven't been to. Let's keep moving. That ended up not taking as much time as I thought, but I will have to most likely farm again when I die, inevitably. Alright, which room was it? Is it this one in the middle that we haven't been to yet? Or, no, it's this one. Is it? Yeah, right. Edward says, it's your boy, Raku BPM. Let's get right to the news. Yeah, no, I ain't gonna do that. I don't think I've ever referred to myself as ya boy unless it was ironically or if I wanted to shout out Callie, who does that. Other than those two instances, I think the whole it's your boy greeting is a little bit played out. Although I'm not above ironically saying it in rap songs. That's another thing that I kind of wanted to get your guys' opinion on, since we haven't really talked about it ever here, since I tend to not focus on some of the more experimental content I've done. One thing that you guys can see on my channel, in fact, those of you that have been around for a bit have probably seen it at some point, but I posted a challenge response video for Prince Lemon, who I know Penguin knows. He did his VTuber challenge where he creates a beatbox beat and tells people to make stuff with it. I created a real quick, silly rap song based on that. And I posted it on the channel, I posted it on Twitter. It's called Citrus, you can see it in the videos. I'm working on another one since he posted another challenge last week or the week before. Last week, I think it was. And he did a different beat and whatnot. And I'm working on recording another response to that challenge. Hopefully I'll have it up by the weekend. It's going to be more complex. It's taking me more time to record and edit. But I don't think I've ever talked about music stuff with you guys before outside of beatboxing. And it's mostly because it's kind of experimental, but one thing I have done, and it's been behind the scenes and a lot of stuff for me in content, and not featured here on the channel, but I do write rap songs. I can't produce, so they're not recorded and finalized or anything like something like Calliope does, but I've been writing lyrics and songs since like 2006, and I kind of wanted to use the VTuber platform to kind of get that going and get that into some form. And that process is kind of interesting because it's sitting here spitballing ideas for lyrics and whatnot and playing around with rhythms, and the loop station is actually really good for that. So the reason why I bring it up is if you guys would be interested in me doing that on stream, like a kind of like a let's write a rap song type deal, then I can think about doing that. It would be probably kind of cringy to come in and, you know, brainstorm lyrics, but the end result would be to have stuff we can use for songs. So that's something you guys would be interested in seeing. Let me know, because I'm pretty sure Prince Lemon's gonna be doing more challenges, and every time he does one, the responses get more and more complicated and more awesome. So the bar is constantly being raised. I think other folks are still working on their responses. The only one I've seen is from Micro, or Microphone to Sing, who's a singing VTuber, and she did hers pretty quick, but it was pretty awesome. But yeah, let me know if that's something you guys would be interested in doing, because I'd be down. Penguin says, "Stop the content cop is here to put the drama to end." No, yeah. Content cop. Alright, let's do the bonus before I get distracted here. This is the last one. We've got a violin. Upper left. And it's a pretty prominent part of the melody. And this is what the whole song sounds like. And you only get this if you get all the bonuses. Which again, the game doesn't even tell you about, really, aside from one cryptic hint. Well, I am going to need a decent amount of cash. Let's see how much I can get here. Need to get at least 40? Yeah. Oh. Well, alright. Alright. 41. I think we need 50. We'll see. I need to gather some more cash, and I think the shop is in here that I need to get as far as essential items go. Wow. Edward says, "Sounds interesting. I don't imagine I would contribute much though." Oh, that's not really a big deal. The point of like a let's write a song thing isn't for you guys to kind of write the song for me. It's more to kind of bounce ideas back and forth. So one thing that could be helpful for you guys tuning in, since I'm assuming you know about VTubers if you're watching a VTuber. One thing I've done in all the stuff I've written so far, like for the challenges and some other stuff I'm working on, I like to put VTuber references in all the stuff I write, which is kind of a meta, cheeky, fun thing to do. And it's not supposed to be cool or groundbreaking. But if we were sitting here saying, hey, I need to write 16 bars for a challenge, and we start kicking around ideas, if you guys know things about the VTuber scene, then you can help contribute by saying, hey, what if we did a reference to, you know, Rushia, or we put in like a reference to Gura, or one of these other VTubers, and we work that into a lyric. But the point isn't to require you guys to contribute. It's more if you guys want to see what that process looks like, and how experimenting around with rhythms and rhyme cadence and flow works when it comes to writing rap stuff. That would be the point of the stream. Just kind of a fun thing to sit down and sort of collaboratively do. But yeah, I'll give it some thought. And it would also be kind of a neat thing to pair with the loop station, because whenever I'm working on lyrics, if it's in response to a challenge, I'll usually use a challenge beat like Prince Lemon has done. But even if we weren't doing that in response to anything, we could do something where, you know, we create a beat on stream that's going to be like a certain tempo or cadence, and say, all right, we're going to use this as our sample. Let's see if we can get some lyrics to match up and fit into the beat. And that would be something I don't think anyone on the B2B scene has done, as far as incorporating beatboxing and looping and then songwriting. I know Callie has done rap writing stuff on stream before, which is pretty fun. I think that's where her bread rap came from. But yeah, I don't know. I'll keep it in mind and start thinking about ways to play around with that format. What I definitely want to do here on the channel as we proceed is find ways to sort of mix up and do new things for the content that's not just the same thing over and over again. Since I tend to get bored and lose motivation if I'm just falling into the same routine over and over again. That's why you guys see the stream types switch up every week. I could just do, you know, one gaming stream a week, one drawing stream, and one jam stream. But the reality is, it would get boring. There was... Nobody could have used the B there. So instead of falling into kind of a rut, I try and mix up how I plan the content for each week. And I do want to get back to media share stuff again. There'll be another beatbox media share because there's so much more to see from the scene. But if you guys have ideas or things for a media share that you think would be fun to look at, then I'm open to suggestions. I would like to do user submissions too, like send me funny clips or whatever, but I'm gonna need some help moderating that, since I trust you guys that are here, but as we start to get other people tuning in, there'd be the potential for some yabe stuff to get me in trouble, and I'd rather not do that. But yeah, for media shares, if there's things you want me to look at or would be fun to react to on stream or talk about, then by all means let me know here in chat, in the comments, wherever, on Twitter. I know I mentioned it at the end of the last stream we did. I should have checked to see when I made the comment, but for Edward, in case you missed it before, I mentioned the Jacko pose thing that we were talking about. Did you see my comment or hear my comment about that one from the last stream? Penguin says, before I recommend a reaction stream, but any rules for potential videos? If it's a specific theme that we're going for, I would say make sure to stick to the theme of the media share. The only rules I would say would be make sure it's appropriate. Like I said, if I do user submitted stuff, I'll have to vet everything first to make sure, you know, I don't queue up a list of things that's going to get me immediately demonetized or banned. So yeah, just be cool. I would say don't send me anything that's going to get me in trouble. Even if you do, I'm going to be vetting them before, and I'm just going to have to scold you when you get on. But that's it really. But honestly, at this point, I'd rather pick topics for things that I can curate and vet and put together for you guys, because you guys could submit stuff, but there's not a whole lot of you right now, so it might not give us a ton of content. So I'm more open to topics at this point, and then I can go out and track down stuff that I think would be cool to look at. Edward says, "Oh yeah, I saw that, bruh." Okay, just making sure. my contribution to popular meme culture has hit its ceiling already then. I was messing around with that pose tool in Clip Studio again yesterday. It's very powerful. It just frustrates me to no end that there's a feature that powerful in my drawing software that I didn't know was there, and I've been using it for years. But that's okay. Alright, we got the honeycomb. We've cleared out a good chunk of the stage. There's not really a whole lot of interest left. Let me drop down to the bottom. Still missing a bee. No shield. But we're doing okay on life, so I think we'll be alright. We just need to be careful. The feather item... Oh, come on. Alright. Feather item I got, it said... I forget what it said. Ride the elevator or whatever. It makes me light enough to ride this Tetris block. And it only applies to this level, so it's kind of a wasted slot, really. But this leads to a shop in this level, and this gives me the sword, which costs 50. So it's a good thing I got enough cash destroying all those blocks. So Wizard Ron Jeremy says the sword, power up the bubble. Again, not super specific about what that is, but we'll see it. Now, when I jump back in, oh, I'm going to miss that, aren't I? Yep. My bubbles are now multicolored target things. It's a straight power up to the bubble. I think it's damage and allows me to kill certain things that I wouldn't have been able to kill normally. You don't need this, I don't think, to beat the game, but it does make it easier because you start doing more damage to the bosses. And we need all the damage we can get. We're actually getting pretty close to the end. This is going to be a bit more of an endurance stream, I think, but I think we'll be able to beat it. Penguin says, okay, thanks, because I have very stupid and cursed videos on me. For example, the pizza ball origin video, Prince Lemon's nightmare, and a guy getting a Christmas tree from the highway interstate. I think we could potentially do like a cursed video stream at some point. Wouldn't be my first choice of types of content since a lot of people have done that already. But again, as long as it's not like super yabe or inappropriate. If it's a YouTube video, I understand things slip through the cracks in YouTube, so it's not necessarily the best indicator of safety, but again, within reason. Like, I could pull tons of curse videos from things I've seen that I could show you guys, but it'd probably get me in trouble. Alright. This is the tower. And the tower's got a kind of weird layout. It's basically these repeating rooms of these staircases, and it repeats endlessly. If I were to just keep running to the right, the screen would cycle, and they're actually different rooms, but they look similar. And if I drop down at the very bottom of the tower, then it basically cycles and drops me back at the top, which is kind of confusing. And if you were playing this game blind, or not blind, I guess you can't say that anymore. If you were playing this game completely cold, not knowing anything about it, you could find yourself in an infinite loop. And the game doesn't tell you, but the way to get out of here is to break these blocks at the top, and it's a secret passage you have to jump through. And then it pops you down here at the bottom in a different section of the tower. And there's no map or anything for you to really discern your position. So that's one of those cryptic things that you have to either figure out for yourself or read in a guide. But dropping through gets us to the boss fight here. And now we got a purple version of the Pooh monster. And this one follows the same pattern. It moves a bit quicker for sure, and spits a bunch of projectiles that are going to do more damage. Just like the pterodactyl chicken, just a stronger version of a previous boss with a slightly more dangerous pattern. But getting the sword will be helpful here. should cut my overall time on the bosses down. I've never timed it myself, but it's funny. Oh man, that's like 3 things of damage. We're good. Penguin, it's funny that you mentioned cursed videos and Prince Lemon's stream. Of note, I think it's hard to tell diameter or range on that one. It's hard to tell what the power-up was. As far as cursed videos go, man, I don't think anything's gonna be as cursed as that mayonnaise Oreo video Prince Lemon posted. Good lord. That was a serious, like, are you okay, man moment when he posted that. Because one, it was out of the blue. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, on Prince Lemon Virtual's channel, he posted a short, it was about a month ago or a few weeks ago, of him creating and eating an Oreo that had all the filling gutted out of it and filled with mayonnaise instead. Which, again, I thought could be a potential cry for help, because that's a thing, I guess. And no context, he just posted it, which is funny, but at the same time, why? Alright, in this section of the tower, the Invisible Ink thing that I got a couple screens ago, or rooms ago, allows me to reveal these blocks. They'd be invisible otherwise, and I'd have to kind of guess where they are in order to see them. I need to try and get some more health before I clear this section out. You can see what looks like the princess screaming for help. Totally not suspicious at all. Let's see, if I can get a couple more units of health, it should be alright. Penguin says, I've seen worse. I got Tim and Eric videos. Those are bad. Yeah, I'm not saying the mayonnaise Oreo was the worst thing I've ever seen, but it definitely was one of the most cursed things I've seen recently. I've been on the internet for a long time. I've seen some pretty cursed things. Zoomers these days didn't have to suffer through the heydays of things like Goat Sea and Meat Spin, or Lemon Party. You think your memes are cursed now. I've been to the depths, man. Alright, should be good enough. If we break down the door to this particular area, and we touch the princess, turns out she's a demon bird. Looks kind of like a bat version of Daffy Duck. And I wonder if I might not be able to actually do damage to this thing yet. I thought I did. Let's see. Normally they make noises when they actually take damage. Nope. I think I'm missing an item. Alright, well, that's an unfortunate waste of time. These are required encounters you have to get through in order to progress. Let me see. There's the pitfall. Alright, it's time to bail. Edward says, why you gotta remind me of that stuff, bruh? Sorry. But if it's in my brain at some point, I can't suffer alone. I mean, you guys had to know what you were getting into when you started hanging out here, right? Maybe you didn't see my original stream debut announcement way back in May, before I officially started as a VTuber, because chances are you're not going to go back and watch all my old videos, which is perfectly fine. But I had a Tub Girl reference in my debut video, so if that didn't sort of give you guys a hint that I've been on the internet a while, then I don't know what else would. It's very tempting to put a Rickroll in there, but I didn't. I opted for the more wholesome Tub Girl reference. Oh, the internet has ruined us. Okay, I think I know where I need to go. There's an item I'm missing. And I need to think real quickly about where I can find it. Technically, there's 2 items I'm missing. Where's my inventory? I think the only way I can see my inventory is by going into a shop. One sec. Yeah, I'm missing the fire extinguisher. And that one... where was that one? Let's see, got the feather. It should be on the 3rd floor. Let's see. Oh, nope, that's not what I wanted. Oh, I need to pause in here. Penguin says, 1 question, Raku. Would you believe me if I told you that I paid $10 to Rickroll Prince Lemon? Did you do it via Super Chat? I don't know if you know Prince Lemon outside of his streams, but I'd believe it. I believe that something like that would be very, very doable and likely and funny. I think that's funny. Alright, let me see if I can find a shop. Okay, that leads back down. It's not where we need to go. Okay, there's nothing there. One of these is a boss room. I think it's that one. Oh, right. Beanstalk area. There's nothing else here. The item of interest was the sword. I think we're done with this particular room. Penguin says yes, and he was so mad at me. So, here's my thoughts on the Rickroll. And this is going to be probably a hot take, I guess. The Rickroll is one of my favorite memes that's persisted throughout the years. And I don't have a problem defending that particular opinion. But for me personally, I unironically like Never Gonna Give You Up just as a song, as a nice bit of 80s cheesy nostalgia. I like that song. So if someone tricks me into clicking on it and that pops up, I'm not gonna get mad. In fact, I'm probably one of the least Rickrollable people when it comes to warranting an upset reaction. You're not gonna get that from me. You might get a haha, you know, you tricked me into clicking on a Rickroll, but I'm not gonna get mad about it because I like that song. I understand that some people don't like it because it's really annoying. So, it is what it is. But, hey man, it's your money. If you're gonna super chat and you want to do something like that, go for it. I'm not gonna stop you. Alright, let me go back to the room with the fireplace. Oof. Well, don't do that. Penguin says, I gotta be careful here. Same, I love that song so much. Also really like the other meme songs like All Star and Shooting Star. If anything, my personal theory on why people develop a dislike for meme songs is 1, maybe they just don't like that type of song to begin with, or 2, just from sheer overplay, they get tired of it. Like, Edward says, you should make a Raku roll where you beatbox the song. Tempting. Very tempting. I could probably create a... oh, come on. A loop. I'd have to mess around with things like getting the right key for a bass line and everything else, but I could probably do that. now that you put the idea in my head, I will have to think about some ways that I could work that in. If anything, it would be like something I do at a celebratory stream, like if we hit 50 subscribers or something like that. Because when I eventually get stuff set up to do a karaoke stream, I'm gonna do 80s night. And when I do 80s night, I'm gonna do Never Gonna Give You Up, and you guys can't stop me. Alright. Oh, I think my life is a little bit too low. Let me try and refill my health a little bit before I go and try and get past the fire. There is an encounter here that I need to do. Let's see. Just need to not keep getting hit from all the enemies. I might not need the fire extinguisher. I think that only really helps me kill the fire elemental. I don't need it for the encounter that I'm trying to get to. We'll see. I do want to collect all the items. It's going to bug me if I miss one. Oh, it might... I don't know. We'll have to see. I might be missing a shop somewhere. Alright, I'm going to try and go for the boss encounter here. We shall see if I have enough life to do it. Alright. Touching the fireplace triggers a fire elemental, and then dropping through fireplace gets us into another fight with the boss. This is the purple variant of the Kangaroo Dragon. And this one's... I don't know if it's necessarily that much harder, but it's... Fireballs do 3, looks like. So yeah, this thing is definitely trouble. Try and get above it and just pelt it in the face. It shouldn't be too bad. Again, getting the sword makes this easier. Yeah, this would take much longer if I didn't have powered up bubbles. That looks like diameter, right? Can't tell if we got length or girth on that particular power up. Alright, this drops us into another version of the invisible block room. It's not the same area. It's laid out much the same way. But it's kind of a mirror, essentially. We make our way over to the side. Now, the princess, in quotes, is up here in a different section. That would have been helpful. Whatever. Just like before, let's see if we can go and trigger the encounter and see if we can actually do damage this time. Not if I fall through the platforms. There we go. Ow! I'm gonna keep trying just to do damage for a second here. It could be that there's no hit noises like some of the other bosses. In which case I could have killed the other one if that ends up being true. Oh, where'd the heart go? Ah. Fortunately, there's a lot of infinitely spawning minions in here that can get my health back, but I need to be careful. As I clearly demonstrate, I'm not being careful. think the problem is the bats are spawning from off screen and they just sort of path upwards. And these flying skull bat things, they spawn in from the ground and little blue dots and above. Trying to get to about, come on, 50%. I'll jump back up there and try and fight the void. That might be close enough. Let's see if I can get one more pip. No? Come on, RNG. Nope. Alright, fine. Let's see. I think I'm missing one item that's not on my equipment list. I think there's a cross. I mentioned it's been a while since I played this game, so my memory's not 100% on the end game stuff. The early game stuff I know pretty well, but for the late game, yeah, I'm missing something because I should be able to hear them taking damage. Okay. These areas are kind of connected. This is the other one that I was in earlier. It's the same type of encounter, just the layout's different. Because there's two items. They said the crown and the scepter, or staff. You have to basically clear that encounter to get the crown and the other one for the staff. And then that's how you get those items. Let's see. Yeah, there's two bosses left. Which one am I missing? Actually, I'm gonna go back to the first room. Get some health. There's one place I can potentially look. Let's see if another boss has opened up. I think I'm missing two. I know I'm missing two crystals. That means there's two bosses. And I know there's one that's different from all the others as far as the variants go. We killed a purple version of the poo monster, the Kangaroo Dragon, and the pterodactyl. What I'll do is I'll fill my life up, and then we'll go and explore the upper sections. Oh, come on. That should be good enough. Real quick, before we do that, I'm going to go refill my water bottle real fast. So, give me a quick minute. I'm going to switch to the loading screen, and then I will be right back. All right, let's jump back into the game here. All right. Quest to figure out the path forward continues. I'd say we're at the last 80% of the game. Let's see, where's the shop? I want to check one thing. I think I missed a shop somewhere. No, that's not where I wanted to go. me run through here and just exit the level. Maybe collect some health while I'm at it. Penguin says, I saw a UFO in the background. Do I need to send Santa Claus? Yeah, that little Easter egg was something that Wazzy from Toxicure included in the animation. After you watch it for long enough, a UFO flies by in the background. I thought that was a pretty neat touch. Alright, I'm gonna run through here just to make sure I didn't miss a shop. I could have sworn going through the boss room automatically paths me towards it, but it's not difficult to navigate through here. So let's run through real quick. Oh, there is a bee in here. Alright. Oh, I died against this boss, that's right. Whoops, I forgot I didn't beat this one. Well, here's our forward progress. More proof that my short-term stream memory sucks. Oh, that's a lot of damage. If I get too low, I think I could just head out one screen and farm the lightning bolts and get health if I need to. Pretty sure the boss regens if you do that, but it'd be better than dying and having to refill my life from scratch. There we go. Alright. Extinguish the fire. That was the last crystal I needed to do damage to those evil birds, I'm pretty sure. So if we do that, go back into the fireplace. We don't have to kill the boss again. I already killed the purple poo monster. But I will need to go back into that section and trigger the encounter with the invisible blocks. Let's go do that. We shouldn't need to... Oh boy. We shouldn't need to buy anything else unless I want to spend money just to refill my health. I think that what was gating progress was the crystal, not necessarily the fire extinguisher, because that just allows me to kill this thing, which is not necessary in order to proceed, but it does make it easier so it's not constantly blasting you with fire. There you go. I'll have to farm up life in this next section. Now that I've got the, was it 6th crystal of 7? I should be able to do damage to the evil birds or whatever. Oh, there's a bee. Nope. Oh, sadness. That would have been handy as well. Oh well. So my encounters are this room and then the left tower is the other one. How to get to the other side. The other fake princess. Now I should be able to do damage. Oh, whoops. Okay. Woo. Yep. Now they grunt. taking down Evil Bird number 1 gives us the cane. Now we just have to go in the other tower and get to the other section. And we will have the crown. Might need to farm up some life here too. We'll see. I can do it in the section with the bird. Whoops. Oh, I missed. I jumped too low, missed the 2 blocks, and I have to do the whole cycle again. Alright. Fortunately, this particular dungeon is probably one of the shortest, just because all you have to do is keep running to the right. Alright, here we go. Right, Princess number 2. Evil Bird. Hey. Alright, now I got the crown. And I think the only thing left to do now is fight the last of the crystal bosses. Before I do that, I'm going to go get health. That is not going to be easy. We're pretty close to the end of the game. Basically two encounters away from the end. I wonder what the speedrun record is. I know people have speedrun this game before. Can't imagine it's terribly popular, but I'm sure it's something like, for any percent, probably like less than an hour, I imagine. If you know what you're doing, you can do it pretty quick, but you also have to play pretty well, considering how challenging those bosses can be. Alright, that's good enough. Alright, pretty sure that room up top is where we need to go. In the past, it would just spit us out the same way we came in. But now it's got a new spooky boss. This is the Skeletal Dragon. It has a unique sprite, but it more or less behaves the same as the other ones, but it spits a ton of projectiles. And this one's 3 or 4 units of damage, so I really don't want to get hit by that. I have 3. Ow. This one has a pretty decent health pool as well. I don't know if you can do damage to it without the sword. I think you can, but it just takes forever. Alright. Alright, that's the last crystal got. It's gonna be tedious, but I gotta go refill my health again, because now we're going to the top floor, the last room of the game. I guess technically I could just go to a shop and buy some health, since I don't need money for anything anymore. Well, that's fine, we'll just farm up here real quick. Another thing they could have potentially done to reduce the tedium in this game would have been like a heal room, like a place where you can rest, maybe pay $5 or something and it'll just refill your health so you're not having to sit here and farm up enemies every time. Because, again, it's not difficult, but it does just waste your time. We'll go completely 100% full. Hopefully that'll be enough. Need one more heart. One RNG. Alright, there we go. Alright, full up on health. We've collected all of the necessary items. As far as I know, we've gotten all of the honeycombs. I may be missing one or so. There's one that I couldn't find. But now we can go ahead and proceed up to the same room where we fought the Skeletal Dragon. And this is going to pop us up to the top level of the castle. Alright, this is the final boss area. Now, remembering back to one of the earlier hints we got from Wizard Ron Jeremy, he said there's only one Maharito, who's the antagonist. And now those weird evil bird things are regular enemies. They don't give us anything to kill, but they will just pot shot us over and over again if we let them hang out. Alright. Up there in the throne room, bouncing around, is the final boss. That's Maharito. And the way this boss encounter works is he just jumps back and forth. Oh, come on. Take out the bird. I saw it briefly in one animation as I was trying to take the bird out below. But the boss jumps back and forth. And when you get close, he'll open his arms and shoot a whole bunch of projectiles at you. And then he can only take damage from your shot when his arms are open like that. And then he'll continue bouncing around and just repeats that cycle endlessly. It's not a terribly difficult pattern, per se. But now I've just taken a bunch of damage from these stupid birds. But the trick to this fight, and what that hint was saying is, there's only one real one. And there are 3 or 4 different rooms with different colors that all have this exact layout and this exact same encounter. And I believe it's random which one is the true final boss. We'll find out if I can do this without dying. I think it's possible to get lucky and have it be the correct one when you first get there. But if it turns out to be a fake, he'll turn into a bird. And I think you get a little bit of life, but then you have to proceed on to the next room. I'm gonna die. And continue to look for the quote-unquote real final boss. And so you might have to do this encounter 3 different times. That's what makes it difficult. Ah. Remember, hold left. Let me see if there's purchasable health in the first shop here. No. One of the other ones, I think it might have been in the second level on this floor. It had it in there too. Let me try and regain my health real quick. And then we'll go. So that's what makes the final boss encounter difficult. 1, you have to make sure and kill the right one, and it's basically just trial and error. There's no way to tell them apart. And 2, you have to do it without dying while birds are shooting at you and the boss is shooting at you. Well, it is a unique encounter compared to the rest of the bosses you fight in the majority of the game. But it's kind of an obnoxious mechanic in that it's RNG based. As far as I can tell, I haven't researched it too much. In reality, if you just play well, you can just blitz through each version of the boss till you find the correct one and just take him out. Yeah, we'll need to top up and heal the full. I could do a save state before that dungeon so I don't have to do this over and over again. I don't know. You guys be the judge. Would that be cheating? That way if I die, I can just reload the state and then save myself probably 10 minutes worth of grinding, get my health back every time? Or do you guys think I should do it completely legit without using any sort of technology magic to get to the final boss and beat it? A couple more. One more. I do think I will put one save state just in case I forget to hit the continue code right before I go into that final area, just for the sake of backup. And then we'll see. Maybe if I die 2 more times, I'll just reload the state, since I'm not using that to beat the boss, I'm just using it to save time. Alright, let's see if we can do a better job of dodging the birds and not lose a whole bunch of health before we even get to the boss. boy. Did not do a good job of avoiding damage there. I guess I'm gonna have to go balls out and try and just spam the boss before I die. Oh, no, it was a fake. Okay. If we move one room over, we have a different color. And I wonder if I can just leave and refill my health and come back. I don't know if I'm going to do that. Yeah, let's do this. Oh, look. We're back to the same spot we left off at. And I don't know how the RNG determines where the final boss places. I don't think it's following a set progression each time. I'm pretty sure it's purely random. But let's try something different. We started on the brown room. Let's try do the blue room. Oh, there is a bee in here. Ah, okay. Well, that's good to know. Okay, I'm gonna try and make my way up to where the boss is located and see if I can just get the kill quickly. If I make myself smaller, it'll make me a bit tougher to hit. But now I gotta dodge projectiles from both the birds and the boss. Oh, nope, that one was fake too. Alright. Next. Red room. Got a little bit of life for that, but not really that much. Not enough for it to really matter. But we'll do the same thing. Make our way up to the room. Try and take out the boss. The boss follows the same pattern every time. Ow. Nope, that one was fake too. Next. Green room. I guess there's 4? Brown, blue, red, and green. Ow. Aw, come on. I guess if I can successfully get through each fake one and manage to hold on to my life, eventually I'll just... Oh, there's a bee right in this room. Ah, okay. I didn't know that. Alright, that's the final boss. Ugh. In true NES fashion, we get a little bit of a cutscene with the princess. It says, "You bravely saved Castle Garland. Thank you, Mylon." No animation. No credit crawl either. We just get a message and a song. And if we hit start, start back at the beginning of the game, and that's Mylon's Secret Castle. Now, I did learn something interesting more recently as I was playing through this game. Apparently there's a second ending, and I didn't know this back in the day when I used to play through this one. But if you play through the game a second time consecutively, exact same game, I don't think anything changes. I honestly haven't played through it back to back before. But if you do that, you get a different ending, or at least a different message that plays at the end. So the sadists over at Hudson pulled a Ghouls and Ghosts, and that they make you play through the game twice to get the quote-unquote alternate ending. And that is interesting. I'll probably keep this save file handy. And I don't know if I won't do it on stream. I'm not gonna play through the game a second time, since it took almost 3 hours just to play through it one time. But I am curious what that alternate ending is, because I've never seen it. But to sort of wrap up this particular playthrough, do I think Mylon Secret Castle is an underrated classic, worthy of praise, and overall hailed as an underrated title in general? No. I would say this game is flawed and suffers from a lot of cryptic problems, but I enjoy it. I think the primary reason I enjoy it is because I know how to play it and beat it. But it doesn't really do anything offensive or offensively bad that would warrant a terrible reputation. It's not like a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde type game or situation. And things like the mini games and the idea of collecting the different notes to build the song is kind of a novel concept. And the game is decently challenging, while not being, in my opinion, unfair. The bosses are difficult, but not necessarily cheap. I don't know, if I were to rate Mylon Secret Castle on like a scale of 1 to 10, it'd probably be like a 7.1, maybe like a 6.8. But that's coming from the perspective of someone who knows the game really well and has played through it. Let's see. I think I will figure out where I'm going to save here. Penguin says, at least it has more quality than the Action 52. Well, that's not saying much. The Action 52 was either straight rip-offs of games or stuff that was outright broken. So I don't think you really have to be setting the bar high to beat something like the Cheetah Men, which I don't even think it was completely beatable back in the day. Mylon Secret Castle had an entry on Game Boy as well. I think it was just kind of a pared down version of this. I never played it, and I think it's got the potential to be more jank than this, assuming I can even get a Game Boy emulation thing to work on here. Penguin says, Action 52 stream when? I don't know if I really want to torture myself with that. Assuming I could find a ROM that will play in an emulation type program. I think all you really need to do when it comes to the Action 52 is just watch the AVGN's video on it, and I think that'll tell you everything you need to know. I am curious about that alternate ending. I will have to figure that out on my own time. Let's see. I'm gonna save this. Originally, I thought this was gonna take almost 3 hours to get through, but no. Penguin says LGN stream when. I don't know if I have any LGN games. I might have a couple. Did they do Who Framed Roger Rabbit? I have that one. But I'd much rather play games that are fun, or at least ones that I have experience with and can speak to, than ones that are just straight up bad. Like one game that we'll talk about in some format. I haven't quite figured out how yet, but we'll get to the Godzilla NES game, but it might not be the original. I want to do some stuff with the Godzilla Creepypasta game, but it's not finished. So I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do with that. But yeah, I think we'll go ahead and wrap up for today. Like I said, the intent was to play through this game and give people a chance to actually see the end and all the stuff that goes into a game that's been pretty well panned by most of the gaming community. Penguin says, my friend had the figure factory sealed that came with the Godzilla NES game. Oh, that's cool that they had a figure you could collect with it. I like Godzilla a lot as a franchise. And I played the NES game back in the day, and that game is janky as well. And I think it probably has less redeeming qualities other than a really cool sprite art compared to this one that we're playing. But the creepypasta game kind of builds on the overall ideas and incorporates a lot more interesting stuff. So I think doing a playthrough of the creepypasta Godzilla game would be more interesting for you guys to see. So I need to go and see what the status is on that game development. It's a fan game, essentially. But we'll see. Next time we do retro games, I'll probably pick some stuff that's going to be a bit more well-known and fun. We'll see. If I can think of another game that's got a bad reputation that I could potentially speak to, maybe I'll do that. But we'll see. In the meantime, thanks again to the folks for stopping by and hanging out. We will be getting back together later on in the week for, I think it's a drawing stream. I honestly don't remember what my schedule is since I posted it. But we'll get back together then. So, in the meantime, once again, thanks for hanging out, and I will catch you guys in the next stream. Have a good evening.